Good evening, I'm Bo Williams, and welcome to The 7. Let's get a look at the Big 7 stories happening right now. And topping the list for us tonight, a family is sharing their story after the loss of their son to the flu. 27-year-old Quentin Thomas died Saturday after his family says he contracted flu A and flu B. His family says they didn't think much of it at first when he became sick, but knew something was wrong when he began having trouble breathing.
I never thought twice about having a flu. I've never worried about having a flu. I don't go to doctors. I don't worry about getting sick. It just passes with me. And, you know, I think it's very important that you love your loved ones, that you get a flu shot.
Thomas leaves behind 2 young children, both under the age of 1. His family is now raising money to cover funeral expenses and have him buried next to his mother in Middle Tennessee. And we have that information for you on our website at WATE.com. Our next big story tonight is 7 questions surrounding new House rules at the state capitol. State lawmakers getting back into session under updated rules which allow Republican Speaker Cameron Sexton to declare someone out of order without explaining why. House rules have been under scrutiny since last year's session and the following special session when 2 Democrats were expelled for protesting on the House floor with a bullhorn, part of the clash over gun control laws after the Covenant School shooting. Now Democrats are pointing to an encounter between Speaker Sexton's security detail and Representative William Lamberth. Democrats claim the detail wouldn't let Lamberth ride on an elevator with Sexton. They argue it's another example of silencing anyone who disagrees with the GOP's supermajority.
Rules meant to penalize and meant to attack other members, just because they become rules don't make them right.
These rules are not about Democrats versus Republicans, but it's about each of us as members and a speaker who is drunk with power. In these rules, a phrase that keeps
Representative
occurring.
Reagan, you're recognized.
Before State Representative Justin Jones could finish, a majority of fellow lawmakers voted to silence Jones for the remainder of his allotted time to silence Jones during today's session. Now to a big step in a deadly shooting case. It comes with a guilty plea from a woman blamed in a shooting at Soaky Mountain Waterpark. Sarah Romine pleading guilty and getting a 20-year prison sentence after facing charges of second-degree murder and aggravated assault. Romine was arrested along with Joshua Daniels in that July 2021 shooting. You may remember this encounter when 2 women were shot in the parking lot of the water park. 24-year-old Kelsey Cook died from her injuries. A few weeks after the shooting, Soaky Mountain suspended all alcohol sales for the remainder of that year following a series of dangerous alcohol-related incidents. Our next Big 7 at 7 is a man facing an attempted first-degree murder charge. According to Maryville police, the man allegedly aimed a gun at his father and pulled the trigger. Police say a man called to report his nephew, 18-year-old Jesse McKeon, fired a gun, and the incident was caught on camera. Police looked into the video, which we're told shows McKeon pointing a handgun at his father with a laser attached. Police searched the home and found multiple weapons, drugs, and cash in McKeon's room. McKeon again has been charged with attempted first-degree murder and possession of a prohibited firearm. An interfaith prayer service marking the start of the MLK Day celebrations as our next Big 7 at 7 for you tonight. The Martin Luther King Commemorative Commission held an opening service this afternoon. The interfaith prayer service was at Lennon Sini United Methodist Church off Dandridge Avenue. Deborah Porter, the chair of the commission, says it's about honoring Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy, alive with faith, love, and action.
I think what we have here is the action part, where we bring people together, as I said, of many faiths, and decide that we're going to love on one another. Today, if not any other day, we're going to love on one another.
Tomorrow, our very own Tirsa Smith will be emceeing the sold-out MLK Leadership Awards Luncheon, now called the Tank Strickland Leadership Awards Luncheon. Again, that's coming up tomorrow. Also here in Knoxville, there will be a community forum this Friday, January 14th, is the annual Night with the Arts Tribute event. And the celebrations are finished off with the MLK Memorial Tribute Service on the 15th, which is MLK Day. And just a reminder for you, you can join us right here on WAT 6 on your side on MLK Day for a granddaughter's dream. The only grandchild of the civil rights leader, Yolanda Renee King, talks about her family's legacy and how she's been called to fulfill her grandfather's dream. Again, join us for a granddaughter's dream on Monday, January 15th at 7 o'clock. We're hearing from a big voice in East Tennessee radio about a big loss for the local industry. Dave Foulk, the beloved Knoxville radio host, passed away earlier this week. Fellow broadcasters are remembering his impact on the community. He was well-known as an on-air personality at News Talk 98.7 and served in a variety of roles at WNOX and WIVK. Along with spending 15 years at WSB Radio in Atlanta, Foulk also worked for a time as a traffic reporter for us here at WATE. News Talk 98.7 talk show host Halloran Hilton Hill told us today that he considered Foulk as one of his greatest mentors, friends, and brothers.
It was great being around someone like him because you can study this stuff in school, but when you work next to someone who's at the top of their craft every day and you see how it's done and you see what it takes to do it consistently well, it transforms you.
Hill's sentiments are echoed by Mike Hammond, who worked with Foulk for several years at WIVK.
People will be talking about Dave Foulk years from now and what they learned from him, and talking about anecdotes and things that happened with Dave that were humorous and also you know, some serious things too.
Foulk is survived by his wife Dina and their 3 children. Next in our Big 7 list for you, Knox County leaders want to hear from you about growth plans. A plan currently centers around lowering or pausing raising housing prices, as well as limiting urban sprawl and preserving open spaces that make Knox County truly unique, especially with more people moving to the area. Now, when we spoke to Mayor Glenn Jacobs earlier this week, he said that that is exactly the goal, maintaining a high quality of life.
The actual plan itself is kind of a combination. It's almost like a hub and spoke where you have town centers, but also you have development along the arteries and the highways that can accommodate that, as opposed to, you know, kind of some of the rural roads that we have in the county.
Coming up at 11, we'll continue to follow the outcome of tonight's meeting. Stay with WATE for more.